So, Matt, did I ever tell you about my time dating in New York on, OkCupid in the early 2010s?
No.
Uh,
Tell me
uh,
about your dating and
a little,
go ahead.
just a little throwback to the a journal entry that I had during that time. They have evolved into a race of beings who are formless, so utterly hideous that the sight brings total madness to any human who sees one. That's a joke, actually. I met many fine ladies who were very attractive in
I
the
don't
early
know.
2010s.
I could point to several of my ex-girlfriends who I might consider monsters that make me go insane.
Yes, of course.
But hey, everyone. Welcome again to Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. I'm your host, Captain Matt Ross, accompanied by the lovelorn XO, Michael Pontone. How are we doing tonight, Mike?
Michael J. Spontone, Esquire, XO to my captain, Matt Ross, as we hurtle through this journey to seek out new Star Trek adventures that I have never seen. We've been doing this now for almost 2 years.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You know what I feel like? I feel like I should get an ugly rhodium-coated medallion to wear around my neck. What do you think about that? You should act now and buy one.
Can I just get one of those visors? I mean, we're going to get into it. I can't believe that they were selling those edicts and not those visors, man. Those things rocked.
Now there's a better solution. Introducing HD Vision Wraparounds. They're lightweight sunglasses that wrap around your prescription lenses.
It's edic, like, oh my God. Well, anyway, tonight's episode is There No Truth in Beauty. It's our 5th episode of season 3. By the way, this was recorded after Spock's Brain. So I can't even ask you, would you do this before Spock's Brain? But let's just say for real, this is the one where they have an alien so ugly that if you look at it, you go crazy. Would you have made this the season premiere of season 3?
Yes. I thought that it was a much better high sci-fi concept. That being said, I understand why they didn't, because it doesn't involve too much. The guest star is the main star. She's the main star of the episode. It's actually a Kirk light episode in a couple of different ways.
Well, it's actually more Spock-centric, which is one of the requirements that people were asking for. In fact, when this was being written, everyone was saying, including Robert Justman, Gene Roddenberry, saying, I noticed that we haven't given out anything to the ancillary characters like Scott, H. Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy, and we're wasting the 3rd season. So they decided to make this more Spock-centric because if you even look at it, even Spock's brain is more Kirk is missing Spock, and he solves the issue to get Spock together with McCoy. So this is a kind of more Spock-centric in a way. It's not one of my favorite episodes. I will tell you I do like it better than And the Children Shall Lead.
Yeah.
It's not fabulous. It's not terrible. I think it has a lot of the hallmarks of the 3rd season, from the weird music to the off-angle camera angles a lot of the time, and I think it's a little draggy in spots more than anything else, but that's a hallmark of season 3, I would argue, and this is something actually that Gene Roddenberry assigned before he left, and it was written by a person named Jean Lizette Arrest, who was a librarian for Harvard and UCLA, and she loved Greco-Roman myths, and that's also Shakespeare, so Is There No Truth in Beauty? It comes from a sonnet. It's not an exact line. And the actual characters with Medusans, that's Greek. And it was actually supposed to be something else. But I know I'm talking too much, Mike. I'm sorry. But let me just get right to the general press release from September 17th, 1968, which says, Mr. Spock, after gazing upon a Medusan, will die of madness unless Captain Kirk can persuade a woman already jealous of Spock's mental powers to save him by performing a dangerous mind lick on NBC's television network. This is for October 18th, 1968. I don't know. This is a kind of a weird one. It doesn't start with like any great conflict or something. It basically starts with people beaming aboard, and it immediately reminded me of a Next Generation episode called Haven with the box. Do you remember that?
The momentous day is close at hand. Rejoice!
I do not. But I will just say I actually had quite a good time with this episode right from the beginning. I like are people doing Federation things. Everything doesn't have to start with a cliffhanger or, a crisis. I think it's cool. And again, I like sci-fi, high sci-fi stuff. We're throwing it in. This is a race of people that cannot be withheld or beheld, sorry, and that are, formless? I was curious because you had told me a little bit about it, and I was like, oh, how are they going to do like an ugly thing? Will it be behind a screen? But it's a box, and it's like it is not a physical creature. It is not a carbon-based life form. It's a contained energy spirit.
They have evolved into a race of beings who are formless, so utterly hideous that the sight of a Medusan brings total madness to any human who sees one.
I like it when they're high sci-fi and they say, okay, not every alien we come into contact with is going to be a humanoid with some stuff on his forehead.
Right. I agree with you. The Medusan concept is fascinating. I like the idea of that it's like a sort of energy something or other, or that if you look at it, you can go insane. I think that was very well done, the way they kind of hit it. It's kind of, I know this is going to sound weird, but it kind of reminded me of an older film called The Cat People, where you never really see the issue.
Oh, yes, of
the
course.
monster. I like that idea here, although you could see the lights, and there's lights to represent the monster, but there's something else about it, which I think it's more towards the end, but it's said towards the end. It's something that I liked a lot because it's never really addressed. Like Vulcans come from Vulcan, Romulans come from Romulus, but the Medusan, when it's later inhabiting Spock's body, says, yes, you call us Medusans. We never really know what they actually call themselves.
Yeah, well, why would they call themselves Medusans?
Exactly. So I like that. The way that worked is because it's like, well, why do Vulcans call themselves Vulcans? That's, I guess it's logical because they call their planet Vulcan, but it's kind of takes the, I guess to my impression, it's like the human element, a human element out of it. But you could say like, well, Germany is actually Deutschland. It's the British who called it Germany.
Yeah, well, we don't know what's going
like,
on. I mean, listen, we do not know the limits of the universal translator, right?
That's true. That's true. But I do like that fact that the Medusans themselves acknowledge that the other races call them something else. It also makes you wonder, what do they think of the other races, thinking them that they're so ugly they can't be looked upon?
Well, that's the thing. When did anyone come to think of them as ugly? Because if you were saying, okay, well, anyone who looks at them straight in the eye goes insane, I don't think that Starfleet would say that means that they're too ugly to exist. They would just, I assume that they would just say there's something paranormal about their visage or the way that they interact. You know what I mean?
That's true. But I guess that's the time of the writing, if you will, because, that's the way it was written, as ugliness. Like I said, the writer was well versed in Greek mythology, so she was trying to make it like like Medusa. Interestingly, the Medusa is one of the like godlike creatures known as a gorgon. So they were originally going to call it a gorgon, but since the children shall lead, they had to change the name back to Medusa. They kept changing the name Medusa and Medusan to several different variations, but I think that's just an interesting side note on it. I do like the fact that we never get to see them, but we have that opening where we see two things that are interesting. We see another guest star, Larry Marvick, or actor or character, who helped design the controls on the Enterprise. And then we see a return of Diana Muldaur, who was actually in the episode Return to Tomorrow. And before we recorded, you said you didn't remember, but that's the one with the giant balls and Sargon, where Kirk gets taken over and he goes, I am Sargon. And Diana Muldaur takes another form, and Spock takes another form, and they from a long dead race. But seeing Diana Muldaur is great to see her again. And yes, she is Dr. Pulaski, and also Rosalind Shays, who dies in an elevator shaft in L.A. Law. I actually liked seeing her there. But
no, she's great. I just find it fascinating that, in Hollywood, with 10,000 actors looking for work, they recast.
Yes. Yeah, they've actually picked on her because the person they originally thought was going to take it wasn't available, and there was concern that people were saying like, "Hey, wasn't she the character from before?" So they said, "Just put a wig on her; she'll be fine."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they must
that's
have.
exactly
I guess
what
that they
is.
enjoyed working with her, and she's beautiful, and she does a great job.
Yes, yes. So that's actually quite telling, as opposed to the absolute disgust like fans had of her when she was Dr. Pulaski
What
when
did
they
they
lost
really?
Dr. Crusher. Yeah, a lot of people hated her from
Why?
season 2. I wasn't. Well, she was too crass. She was mean to Data. Yet she kept calling Data Data and was almost racist, but not the fun Southern racism of Dr. McCoy, but just an angry older person racism. And she had no booze, so there you go. See,
I like her a lot. I like Dr. Crusher. I like all of them, honestly. They were good.
Yeah.
What's a doctor I don't like? They always nail the doctors. I love McCoy. Bashir's great. Dr. Phlox is one of my favorites. They're all amazing.
Do you like Voyager's Doctor?
He is my actual favorite. One day when we make our imaginary crew, he is at my top. But everyone, it's like it's all like 99.9 percentiles of. It's like choosing between your children, choosing who to be the doctor.
Well, I don't like any of the new doctors on New Trek. I will tell you that.
No, I like that Strange New Worlds doctor, the one who's like an assassin.
You mean Murder Mbenga, who's actually from the original series? Yeah. I can't stand it.
I
can't stand it.
One episode.
It's a different character.
One episode.
Different character.
I saw of Strange New Worlds, which actually was pretty good. Was with
no, it isn't.
I was impressed that it was a really heartfelt scene. Now I don't even know if I can watch it now that I have a little girl myself. But when it's revealed that Mbenga was like trying to keep his daughter alive, and that's why something was able to get through the biofilter.
Yeah,
it was a well
and then we
episode.
never hear of her again after that episode. It's not. I don't like the way Strange New World, but. You already know my opinion. I think Strange New Worlds is crap in that they're just trying to recycle older, better Star Trek from the original series, and they pigeonhole themselves into these characters. And when they try to expand it, they're stuck with what they have, right. And they just basically shit all over canon, or actually continuity is probably a better word. But getting back to our episode, I like the fact that because this person's so ugly, or so hard to look at, that they clear the areas on the decks. They got to get out of there.
Clearance plans now in effect. Clear passageways immediately. The ambassador will be escorted to his quarters at once.
But then we have our red sunglasses moment. I thought those are like the weirdest things. How good are those red cellophane sunglasses to protect you from, I guess, the insanity of looking at that thing?
Those things rock. I want a pair. I want to walk around. I want to go to court in them.
Are you sure this visor will work? It has proved effective for Vulcans. It's your human half I'm worried about.
I hear they actually reduce glare on the highway, and you can get them. Better act now. I'm surprised Gene Roddenberry didn't try to sell like 10 of them when they were hot on the trot, but he did try to sell anything. I do also like just that concept, like you got to clear out the area. That's actually very well done. I thought that entire opening was kind of like scary that you can't have anything there. But then this episode is a little devoid of action. It's more talking. Before the podcast, you were wondering, it seemed to be suddenly a love triangle because we have this issue. I think it starts actually before that. There's an issue of jealousy between Dr. Miranda Jones, again, Miranda being a Greek reference, and Spock. Like Spock was going to take that job that she wants, which is to walk around with Kolos, the ambassador that you can't look upon. And Spock said, I was going to do it, but I'm at home here.
I've heard, Mr. Spock, that you turned down the assignment with the ambassador.
I was unable to accept. My life is here.
There's kind of like a jealousy it's immediately picked up on. I assume you noticed that, right?
Yes, obviously.
I see in your mind that you are tempted to take my place.
Not correct, Doctor. Although I am aware of your mind attempting to contact mine.
Again, we were talking about this. The shaky side of this story is that this love triangle that's about to happen, they wait until they get onto the ship, onto the transport ship, to have it throw down. Like, it's just coincidental that they happen to be on the Enterprise with a telepath being Spock, and that it goes that they get into the fight. It's not the worst, but it's just not. There's no reason why this is happening on the ship. Nothing about the ship caused this to happen. And I was just talking with Captain before about this, where the South Park guys, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they have this rule of writing where they try to have everything happen because this thing happens, because this thing happens, because this thing happens, which this episode does pretty well. Like, Spock has to be inhabited by the Medusan because they got sent to outside the galaxy and they can't track their way home. And then the Medusan goes crazy with jealousy because of the relationship that they had that from before. But and then happens, they get onto the ship, and then the guy goes insane. You know?
Yeah, it's a little weak in that regard. I mean, it's kind of a love story and a jealousy story. I thought it was a little strange. I mean, Dr. Jones is like hovering over Spock, like, what do you, he just wants to say, hey, how's it going? And then it starts from there where, you know, there's something not exactly right with her, where she's like, what do you see in him? What did you say?
What is it he sees when he looks at you? I must know.
How much control, by the way, does she have over the ambassador? Makes you wonder if she's actually the good choice to be as a representative of the Federation, if she's going to manipulate this alien entity. It's like she's got a chip on her shoulder, and you don't actually know why at this point. You know, as for the dinner, there's a dinner later that comes on up between everyone. And again, they're drinking blue liquid. I wonder if that's Romulan ale. You know, they are outside of Starfleet's jurisdiction, sort of.
Right.
But that's just a weird kind of dinner scene. Some people thought it was written by Gene Kuhn because Kirk says something like, well, you can't appreciate how sexy Dr. Jones is, or that's not the exact phrase. He goes, well, I think you have no reaction to anything. Why, thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Spock, I can understand. Nothing makes an impression on him. Why, thank you, Captain.
I mean, thank you, Captain. You know, it's like,
Yeah, they were a little extra antagonistic against each other. Like, I don't really like it when writers... this writer, I think his view is that McCoy and Spock are not friends. But that's not really true, because they just rib each other. Like, because later on in the episode, when Spock is, you know, acting like a human with emotions, he says, Jim, my best friend, and Doctor, and the surgeon, who I know.
James Kirk, captain and friend for many years, and Leonard McCoy, also of long acquaintance.
Yeah.
It's a funny bit, but at the same time, it's, you know, he doesn't hate the Doctor. He does love him.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. Right. It's kind of like when we go back to that bread and circuses. Are they enemies? I don't think they know. I really... Yeah, it's a little strange, you know. I do like it's kind of like an everyday conversation, though, at the dinner. When the dinner ends, what I found fascinating is Scotty says to the engineer, he goes, hey, you want to check out the controls you designed and let's see if you can work them on? I'll bet you a bottle of scotch you can't. It sounds like an actual conversation that would happen. It's like, oh, yeah, you designed the craft? Come over here. It's kind of like Leah Brown's The Hologram, or even the real one talking to Geordi in those, what was it, that episode, a Booby Trap, and I forget the one afterwards, where they're like one person knows what it was designed to, and one person actually knows how to do it. But
a bottle of scotch says that you can't handle the controls you designed.
More importantly, that ending where Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are behind finishing their drinks, just kind of like a talking to each other type of thing. It shows that they're not just like talking about work all the time. It's kind of like, hey, what you guys doing later? And Kirk has bemused about how attractive Dr. Jones is, and Spock's like, well, whatever. I kind of like that dinner scene. It was like more of like a everyone was more human, if you will, or more realistic. I found that well acted. It doesn't really add anything to a tension of a story, but it was just interesting to watch. Did you get that feeling as well, or
Get what feeling?
eh? Well, like, that it was more humanized, or more like it's like an actual people talking.
I thought that the episode actually, it was very well written. It didn't have anyone doing anything stupid. It was talking about notions of feelings, right? It's all about falling in love and jealousy, while also our main characters are not falling prone to that. If anything, it's a bit of a experiment in writing where our characters, who are very reasonable and logical, come into contact with a bunch of people who don't have their crap together emotionally.
Yeah, that's true.
I really
actually
go on.
Go ahead. I was just going to say that the writer said the reason why she wanted to do it is that she thought that the writing of the big three, that's Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, everybody, is kind of she called it Elizabethan in its writing, or more classical writing, where Spock is the rational mind, McCoy is the emotional end, and Kirk is the will. And I think that actually comes out, as you were saying. It's like how they kind of like feed off each other to get an answer, and everyone else seems messed up.
Yeah. There was something going on here, which is pretty funny, about with Scotty in this episode. Like, there's something. He's being either really friendly or a bit of a troll, and I couldn't figure it out. Where he just looks at this guy and he sees, the what do you want to call him? Ambassador, handler?
Yeah, he's an engineer. You mean the guy Marvick? Yeah.
So
Larry Marvick. Yeah.
He looks at Marvick, and I think that he maybe sees that the guy is upset about something, but I also think that he kind of likes him. And he's just like, I'm going to try to get this guy to cheer up a little bit. I'm going to talk to him about engineering. Yeah. I'm going to give him some whiskey. I'm going to be like my good jolly self. It doesn't work, but it's interesting that he was trying to.
Scotty's very impressive. Goes, I like the fact that he was challenged. I know exactly what you're saying. It's like Marvick seems upset, and the actor, by the way, was told to play like he was hurt and emotionally upset. Yeah. In that scene, because you don't really see him up until that point. You only see him for like 10 seconds at the beginning, say, "Get out of here, the Medusan's coming." And now here we are. We find out he's upset about something, and that's actually where we come to what we find out why. And it is a little bit surprising that you see that Scotty picks up on it right away. I think sometimes Scotty is more of the everyman than the other three of our main cast are. He's like, hey, I work for a living. Come on down to engineering. Let me show you how to do stuff, or let's hang out and have a drink. Even, you could even say that with Trouble with the Tribbles. He's in charge of everyone, but he's having a good time. He's a human.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the engineers are often portrayed like that, at least Miles, O'Brien, and Scotty. Geordi was always more of a...
stiff?
Yeah, well, a nerd. He was just... His head was in the books, and B'Elanna Torres was just a pill. But sorry.
Angry. I'll fix it or I'll break your neck. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
very nice. I do not like B'Elanna, but that's okay.
She's all right. She's just very angry. She's a great director.
Roxana Dawson. I'm sure she's a great person, but Ms. Torres. But I will always maintain the problem I think that came from Voyager is that you had this great premise, and yet it's like the most boring crew in the Federation got this weird adventure. It's like, well, we managed to find the absolute most boring planks of wood to go through this thing. Like, they're not that dynamic.
Well, they also dropped the ball on the since we're jumping several series ahead. Voyager has a problem of it's got moments of brilliance, and then it kind of turns it to the doldrums. They had a brilliant premise of like having two at odds cruise with each other, and then they went, they're all friends.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Instantly. And not only that, it's also like in no other season of Star Trek did everyone look as clean cut and well fed and well taken care of? Again,
Yes.
someone pointed this out once. I know we're far afield, but what do you want, man? We're Star Trek nerds. We like to talk Trek. Someone pointed out that like the entire series should have essentially been like Year of Hell, which is a great two-parter.
Or Equinox.
Or Equinox.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, where the ship falls apart. I always argue that it's like they should have been rescued. They have like a different nacelle, and the ship's colors were different. But nope, everything's clean.
Well, that would have cost money.
Yep, one hell of a set of replicators, I'll tell you that much.
Right.
You know. But anyway, getting back to our story, this is where we get some of the action. We get Miranda wandering around her very well-appointed quarters, and in comes her, I guess, her wannabe boyfriend, Marvick, comes on and goes, "I love you, I want you," and she says, "I can't give you that."
I simply cannot love you the way you want me to.
Miranda.
And I'm going away with Carlos. That's final.
And feels like girlfriend's past, but she basically says, "I can't give you what I want." And he goes, "Oh, it's because of him." And there's your love triangle: Carlos, Miranda, and Larry Marvick. It's a little weird. I don't know if she's necessarily in love with Carlos, but she's saying, "I just can't give you what I want." And that's where he says, "I'm going to confront Carlos," because during dinner she had a psychic impression that that Marvick was going to kill, or someone was going to kill Carlos. Oh yes, we skipped that. That Miranda is actually psychic. It can connect with Carlos on a psychic level. So she went to Vulcan to learn psychic discipline. McCoy even digs into her by saying like, "Oh, I don't want to go there." And Spock says, "Yeah, shut up."
Well,
But that's
Captain,
pretty
this
funny.
also wanted me to raise a question, and I do not look up things because I want to see if I enjoy
Sure.
talking with Captain about this stuff to see if he knows it off the top of his head. The Beta Zeds, right? Obviously, when they're together, they can speak telepathically. We see Deanna and her mom do that all the
Right.
time. Vulcans, no. They just do mind melds, right? They're not psychic with each other.
That's correct. No, they're not psychic with each other. It's always been a little bit iffy, but they go off of Nimoy's thing where they're psychic by touch. So, but it's not like they talk through their minds. So that's never actually done. They can plant suggestions, which it does make them scarier in some ways. But the Beta Z just seem to be about sexy time. But
Well, I mean, they're empaths, so they can read everyone's mind a little bit. But with each other, they can have full blown conversations.
that's right. And with the Vulcans, no, they seem to talk everything outside. But when they want to read other minds, they have to do it through touch.
Yes, of course.
So, and that was all created by Nimoy in the first season, by the way.
Oh, very
So
nice.
that, or actually second season. But yeah, so it was nice to see that there's a human with some sort of psychic or advanced Esper rating, and this is, I think, really another time where we saw that was more in the it's where no man has gone before. I just like that psychic kind of shenanigans in there.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to the love triangle, that look that Diana Muldaur gives of absolutely no emotion when her co-star kisses her.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. Not even on the coldest day of any time that I've dated. So I hope you haven't either. And I hope none of our listeners ever have that.
No,
happen to
I
them.
will say to the men in the audience, don't go in for the kiss unless you're pretty sure it's gonna be a consensual kiss. Okay, so you're pretty sure this is gonna like it.
Yeah.
And if you can't,
can always tell us about it.
If you can't tell, keep talking. See if the conversation gets a little easier.
Right. You could even talk about space and see what happens, like you did
This is true.
in last
Yes,
episode.
talk
Did
about
that work?
space. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
I love the Mars program. Mwah!
But we were just, okay, come on, let's get into this episode now because I think it's pretty cool. So, can you just get me back through the kind of, I got a little muddled here. Malik, what's his name again?
Marek. Two R's.
Marek went insane and tampered with engineering. Why? Just because he got rejected?
He was trying to he was trying to get away from something. I think what happens is he was upset. It says, "I wish I never met you, Miranda. I'm going to take care of this." And instead of, by the way, her contacting security, she lets him run to the ambassador's quarters and try and kill Carlos. In fact, he has a phaser in his hand, but he looks at Carlos, goes crazy.
Okay, gotcha.
And
so Carlos wasn't
and then
possessing him or anything, because why would Carlos want to throw them into the outer reaches of the galaxy?
Now, the reason why they have Carlos come aboard anyway is the Federation is saying, like, well, we could really use help on navigation.
Do you feel any way may be found to employ Medusan navigators on starships? It would certainly solve many of our navigational problems.
Later, by the way, that's actually cetacean ops with dolphins that you never see. But this over here is the main reason they have this creature you can't see. But he then runs to engineering, or actually walks calmly to engineering, and looks at the controls and says, I'm going to take us on an adventure, because he's now paranoid and scared.
Right.
It's only then that Miranda tells the Captain Kirk, that Marvis has tried to kill Carlos and might be insane.
Yeah, and can I say... Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I do like when Kirk announces it, instead of saying security in engineering or security look for Larry Marvis, he goes, "Attention all hands. I'm going to take a really long sentence to tell you that someone tried to kill the ambassador. Let me tell you who that ambassador is. It's that guy who just came on board. He can be considered insane." You know, just like the fact is, like, everyone's like, huh, oh, wait, that guy.
An attempt was made to murder Ambassador Cullis. The murderer is dangerously insane. He is Lawrence Marvick. Be on the watch for him. Kirk out.
How about, say, security, get Larry Marvis? I just thought that was funny the way they did it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Not too much urgency. But then again, hey, these are, this is Starfleet. They don't give a crap. They're chill. So this is, I appreciate good writing. I appreciate when the writers care about science. What do I love about this episode, right, Captain? They say
high concept.
but also that, okay, we're going to have our characters flung to the outer reaches of the galaxy so far that they can't track where they are and how to get back. Now, they just had the full engines go for too long? No, that doesn't make sense, because then that's only going to go on for 10, 20 minutes, right? Maybe assuming that, how long was he in control? Let's say at most an hour, right, before they were able to get things back. Spock says he brought us too far, and he said, put us into a space-time continuum, which obviously, at least to us Star Trek nerds, can assume a wormhole. And we saw the exact same thing happen in the motion picture. Wormhole.
Mr. Decker. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Wormhole. Get us back in impulse power.
Wormhole. Woo! No, it's not only just wormhole, but you could also say this is the same thing that happened in the Next Generation episode, Where No Man Has Gone Before, with the Traveler and Wesley Crusher. They get sent to some sort of other type of almost dimensional space by making the warp engines go too warpy.
I dig that they took the time to think, where they're like, okay, if we just say, we went too fast for a whole hour and now we're so far away that we don't know where we are, that wouldn't make any sense. That means that you could traverse the entire galaxy in like a day. So anyway, I dig it.
Yeah, that was cool. By the way, when Miranda Jones calls the captain, I don't know if you picked up on this, but she walks into Colos's chamber without wearing her red eye goggles, and she just walks on in.
Mm-hmm.
And the case is still open. I thought that was kind of bizarre that she would just walk on in, but there's a danger that there could be people in the hallway. But did you pick up on her infirmity at that point? Or did you find that bizarre, or did you not even notice?
I figured that she knows something more about him than we do. I figured that maybe that the whole "you'll go insane if you look at him" is not, and that I not for a second did I think the ugly thing, that they're just incredibly ugly. It's like, no.
I'm saying, like, did you notice that she wasn't wearing her eye protection when she walked into the room?
Yes, I did,
up on
but
that?
I mean, I don't I never thought that she needed it to begin with.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I actually never really noticed that until actually seeing it again for just even this podcast. It just never really made a big impression on me. And then I went, oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but as we get down there, there's something that happens as they're trying to regain control of engineering. And as they get down there engineering and there's that fight scene, Marvin can say, we got to get away. We got to get away. And Kirk comes down with a security detail. And also Miranda Jones who says, maybe I can get to him. I don't know. I think Kirk's first reaction is like, yeah, you shouldn't come. That might have been a good idea because that sure the hell didn't happen.
Right.
I also want to point out that the actor playing Larry Marvick was actually, his name is David Franklin. He was actually hired for his one of the things he's known for is his screaming ability. What did you think of his screams? I thought he was kind of a wuss the way he sounded, but
I mean, yeah,
what'd you think of him?
fine. I didn't like him as a character, but that's just because I don't like sniveling, like
Frankum, that's his name.
Yeah,
Yes,
I just didn't think he was that good. But no, he's fine.
Is that the Wilhelm scream?
Right.
His scream was, I don't know, I thought it was kind of wussy, but he was actually the bad guy in The Return of the Fly, and he was in various other things too.
Return of the Fly. The Vincent Price
in the 1950s. He was also with Vincent Price in Master of the World.
Oh, cool.
And also in The Outer Limits. He's in the one called Nightmare and Don't Open Till Doomsday. So he was like in a lot of things. It's pretty wild.
Impressive.
Yeah. But then when he sees Miranda, he goes, oh my God, it's you, my ex-girlfriend or my ex-crush. And then he dies.
Yeah, well.
So...
Liar! Don't love her! She'll kill you if you love her!
Yeah, I died on the inside with my last crush, but not anymore, I guess. I'm sure you didn't die on your last on the inside from your last crush either.
No, and I will tell any gentlemen out there or ladies who are struggling with a crush that is unrequited. The old advice is the best advice. You really gotta let it go, and you'll,
like the song says,
you will end up being much happier in the end and wondering what the hell you were thinking.
And if you feel free to tell us how you got past it. Did you look at some sort of ethereal entity to get past your pain? If you want to, you can always email us at yellingatgas@gmail.com.
I'll actually go a little personal here. It was a matter of just time and reflection and putting yourself out there and opening your heart to allow someone new to come in, and then realizing when that new person comes in that it was that the old thing that you were thinking about didn't exist. It was fake.
That's true.
Yeah.
But as what they say, time is the fire in which we burn.
It's true.
Star Trek Generations. But here we are. They're somewhere out there, and they realize they have to get out of there, so they need Kalos. But the only way to do it is to have Spock connect with Kalos, because Spock has the skills to control the ship. But this is where we see Miranda's absolute jealousy and almost like a hatred of Spock, which is very irrational.
Yeah.
She says, I can fly the ship. McCoy comes out like, she's blind. You're blind. You can't control the ship, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. And everyone's like, she's blind? Yes, it's her dress that is actually allows her to see everything. It's kind of like advanced sensors. I actually like the idea that the dress gave her the ability to see, and it already, by the way, contradicts New Trek because they don't have a cure for blindness.
Well,
which apparently
no,
they do.
They don't have Geordi's cure for blindness. We don't know why. We don't know what's going on physiologically with Geordi.
No, but he is blind.
But there are a million different reasons you can be blind, Captain.
No, I'm not talking about next gen. I'm saying New Trek. They just say, we can cure the blindness. We'll give you a shot. So that's in this last season of Terrible New Worlds with Murder Mbenga, but that's another story.
Okay.
The idea, by the way, of making her blind, again, the author, she came up with this idea. She said she read an article in a magazine called The New Scientist that says it's the future and two people are playing tennis. One of them is blind. How would you know the difference? She thought that kind of question was odd and liked it, and that's how she came up with the story.
Yeah, that is kind of
little strange.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that she's blind and that she can't. This is not the only time we've had disabilities in Star Trek. We have Geordi being blind. We have Miranda here being blind. We have a character who is in a wheelchair in Deep Space Nine.
Correct.
Not a great
I
episode.
like that episode.
Not well. I hate that episode.
I know. We've talked about this before. I dig that. I like the premise that, and I always say that the actor does a very good job at selling the pain of trying to walk in normal gravity, as if she was
right.
a person dealing with a substantial disability. And can I also say something about disabilities demonstrated in Trek? Neuroatypical. I love the 2 episodes with the augments in DS9, where they're highly emotionally dysfunctional and essentially severely autistic, but very capable.
Right.
Those guys.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, I hate both of those episodes.
Get out of town.
Too.
You don't like the augments?
No, I can't. They're not augments.
They
They're
are.
something else. Now, the augments, I keep thinking about Enterprise with the people that are based like on Khan, because it's the episode's called the augments.
No, Captain,
I just
that
can't
is
remember.
them. They are augmented. They're genetically altered people, just like Bashir, except it didn't work.
Yeah, I don't like it.
All right.
No, sorry. But anyway, getting to this, so they're trying to figure out a way to distract Miranda. So Kirk says, I will use my Kirkisms to get her to be distracted.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
silly.
actually that's Zap Brannigan on her. So Zap Brannigan from Futurama.
You want the rest of the champagne?
So he takes her to the Arboretum, and as he's showing her flowers, and he goes, look, a rose with thorns. Ow. Oh, they're so pretty. But that's when they do the switcheroo, where they bring Carlos to the bridge, and Spock's there. But Miranda's like jealous of the fact that she can't control everything dealing with Carlos, and she's very guarding of him. Like, she's so jealous of anyone that has any contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, we just move beyond that. Spock goes behind like a curtain on the bridge, and then becomes Carlos for a short time period, which is where we hear Carlos say, like, oh, you call us Medusans, but, it's fine. We'll help you get out of this mess. I do like that, the way Spock was acting here, where he's acting emotional, and McCoy goes, that's not Spock. And then he says something, really, Doctor? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Oh, there's Spock.
I think that
like
Nimoy nailed it. I think it was excellent.
Yes.
I think that he was playing, that a lesser actor would have had him go full ham, way over the top. And he was like, nope, I'm going to play it like a person who is emotional and jolly and very, friendly, but is not a clown. I think the average person, another actor might have gotten real clown with it.
Tuvixian?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate Tuvix.
You just hate all Trek, don't you?
No, I love Trek. Tuvix was wearing like yellow paisley, so that's a crime I can't forgive. Now, but that will come to later. But I do agree with you 100%, Mike.
I thought he did a great job, and I actually did like the fisheye lens, which I assume we're going to get into.
Yeah, that's part of the weirdness in this, is that when the combined Spock Carlos gets them out of there, Miranda's on the bridge watching them, and Spock Carlos goes like, all right, I've done my job. Kirk says we got to get you out of his body, because his body can only take so much of this, control. And he goes, all right, your emotions and language are weird to me, and seeing all of you is kind of weird, but I understand. But that's when Spock walks behind the mirror or the curtain, and he doesn't put on his red plastic lenses. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
And that's where it goes insane, and then the fisheye lenses occur. I like that, actually, to tell you the truth. It was a good effect seeing it from Spock's perspective, where he's looking out. He's now gone insane. He's looking at Kirk, and that weird Shatner's kind of like, we're your friends type of thing. And like Spock, that with the fisheye lens, it's one of 2 times that you see it. But I love that effect. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought that it was, again, just showing that, all right, they didn't have to do this, but there was some artistry going on behind the scenes with the I guess the showrunner, the director. It wasn't
Director
necessary.
of photography.
Who knows if this was
Yes.
actually in? Do you think that it was actually in the script, something akin to the fisheye lens?
Well, Ralph Sinesky and Jerry Finneman actually discussed it, and they figured that was the best way to make it happen. In fact, they also did some other techniques. The fight in engineering, since there's no handy cam, the way they got behind everyone is they physically carried the camera, which does not weigh like 2 pounds, by the way.
I see.
So they really tremendous camera work here. And the director of photography as well as the lighting director made everything look a little bit crazier. The fisheye lens really adds to it. Ralph Sinesky, who does a lot of the weird, quirkier episodes of Star Trek, like This Side of Paradise, you did not like, that's the Space Spores, Metamorphosis, and Return to Tomorrow. That's the one with the giant orbs. So he was familiar with weird angles and the weirdness of Star Trek, so he actually enjoyed that. But the fisheye lens adds to that kind of weirdness of not being able to understand what the heck's going on. And I think that was very well used over here. It's also used again later between Spock and Miranda. But at this present time, where they're fighting on the bridge, I thought that was pretty cool. Spock's knocking the crap out of everyone. I like the way he throws Sulu and Chekhov in one fell swoop. He pretty much slaps Kirk and everyone out of the way, and the security guard.
Yeah.
Tell you, them Vulcans, pretty strong.
Yeah.
Luckily, they shot him.
Chekhov and Sulu were pretty pointless this episode, but whatever.
Yeah, they just happened to be there. But when they get Spock down to sickbay, the only person that could save him is Miranda. The original concept was that you were going to see a battle between Miranda and Spock in his mind.
That would have been cool.
On a different set of sets, but that would have been cool. But the dollar, too much money. So they just went with the fisheye lenses again. You could see it in that weird kind of music that they have there with the, I guess you could say trumpets or something.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that back and forth, but in order for her to reconnect Spock to his body, where she's like, but she has hatred for him at this point. Even Kirk points out that, you're the reason. You probably suggested that he not put on his eye lenses. You're a terrible person. She goes, I'm not terrible. Yeah, well, you know what? Someone's going to die because of you. You should do something. You already killed your kind of boyfriend. Maybe you should look into this. I kind of like the way Kirk guilts her into it.
With my words, I'll make you hear such ugliness that Spock saw when he looked at Collis with his naked eyes. The ugliness is within you.
It's a lie!
And there's that scene where she kind of puts Spock back together. Did you like that at all or no?
Yeah, I liked it fine. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's acted weird. I mean, it's trippy. It does make me wonder, like, how much of the hippie movement was infiltrating the writing room by now. It's fascinating that you could see, you got the red lenses, which are totally, new age, almost starting to be like disco, or, well, I guess it's early for disco, but all these things about like psychic connections and living through other people's minds and healing and empathy and love. It wouldn't have happened 10 years before. The Cultural Revolution had occurred. But listen, I liked it. Let's wrap it up. I think that I was pretty positive about this episode.
I know I'm pretty positive of it too. I just want to mention, this is something I put in the fake commercial. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, it's Idics for sale. The word Idic is the first time it's heard here. You see Spock wearing it at dinner. It's a little silver pin. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. So this is the first time that actually comes up. That's considered the whole basis of Vulcan philosophy. It's something that Gene Roddenberry himself personally believed in. But Gene Roddenberry was on his way out, and he wanted to make a buck. So he actually spent time inserting 2 pages of extra script into this episode. Shatner and Nimoy actually hated it and refused to film it. And there was like a mutiny on set. They had to reduce the amounts of times in there because Nimoy didn't want to do it. They knew that Roddenberry was selling it, and this became the big jewelry mutiny of Star Trek. The crew didn't want to do it. No one wanted to do it, so Gene actually reduced it by a lot. And in fact, it stalled production by a day. With that said, this took 6 days because of the fight over that pin that Gene Roddenberry was trying to sell in his private company, Lincoln Enterprises. So, knowing that, how much was this episode? Now, knowing that it was delayed by a day, how much did it cost? In $1968.
Special effects, fisheye lens ain't cheap. A lot of special effects, guest characters, good acting, delay. $188,000.
No, actually, it's $167,130. Yeah, I know.
Why?
Even
How?
with the extra
Where?
delay.
Where did what?
Yeah, they actually, a lot of it was used again. The effects that we see in the remastered script aren't in there at all. It was a lot more the ship shaking back and forth. And also flying over the pink energy barrier that we see in Where No Man Has Gone before. So they reused a lot of opticals and other things like that. So they saved a lot of money. There's no new sets really. So there's a whole ways they saved a lot of money. And the music that they used was actually more from And the Children Shall Lead. So they didn't really have a lot of new extra things. You have a box, some red lenses, nothing really crazy. And by the way, that $167,130 was $1,555,922.67 in 2025 dollars.
Wow.
And let's say you wanted to buy that pin, though, Mike. Would you buy that pin? From Lincoln Enterprises.
Okay, I'm gonna guess how much it would have been sold for at the time.
In 1968, how much was that pin?
75 cents.
Nope, $7.50.
Oh,
which
at
today
10 times. So which today would have been what? $50?
$69.82
for that
but
pin.
Yes, what the kids. Yeah, that pin. So just keep in mind that since the minimum wage in the United States was $1.60 an hour, that's quite an outlay, for that type of thing.
Nuts.
But
what is this? What was Gene thinking?
I got to make money. That's what Gene was thinking. So he was thinking, like, I'm leaving this series. I need to squeeze every last dime out of this sucker as I can. And all the actors knew it. That's why they rebelled against him for a full day.
So I guess at this
Very
time,
ridiculous.
like, he must have been aware that the show was getting a pretty impressive cult status.
No one knew at all. In fact, that he was just because he was on his way out since NBC said get the heck out, and he said okay. Remember previously he says it's either me or the show. They said all right, get out. So that's why Fred Freiberger was coming in. It's very bizarre that he chose this pin, but he actually did believe in infinite diversity and infinite combinations, basically saying we have a multi-racial and national crew with different aliens and all there, and that we should all work together as one to try and achieve our goals. Something very important in today's day and age as well, that we all are better together than apart. But trying to make a buck off of it, I guess it's a time-honored tradition of many a huckster out there. But that was Gene, I'll tell you. Do I have an IDIC? Not really. I have a pin I won at a convention. I think it was worth $1.50 somewhere. So that's in $80s. So I don't have one, and I'm not getting one. I do like the fact that the Logicians in DS9, that's the Vulcan baseball team, have that as their symbol. So that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the only time we see, I believe, the IDIC symbol in the original series. It is mentioned again in later things, but that's it. By the way, the thing that ended the fight over the pin was William Shatner acted as a peacemaker with Freiberger and Nimoy. So if you actually look at that last scene where Diana Muldaur is beaming out, he's saying it very stiltedly and kind of like bored because he hated it that much.
I am kind of a little shocked. Why would he care?
He thought it diminished his art and craft. Sometimes, as we've gone through this series, you always heard how serious Nimoy was, and Shatner was the jokester. Nimoy took it very seriously, which that's his craft and his right to do. But he said that this caused a rift between him and Gene Roddenberry. A little weird. But, that's the story with this pin. I'm actually there was a crew member drew a picture of Nimoy kind of being pissy at the end of this. I'm going to put that on our community page later. It's actually pretty funny. He's a sketch Nimoy being angry at it. It was like the last scene that they shot. And he's like, I can't believe I have to do this crap. But whatever. You know, I actually still like this episode.
I was about to say, there's so many famous actors who have done commercials. You know that, what's his name? Tommy Lee Jones, one of my favorite actors, is extraordinarily well known in Japan. He's the face of a coffee brand for decades.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe DiMaggio, the Yankees, sold Mr. Coffee, so there you go.
Absolutely, all of them. I think that the Beatles did something for Orange Crush Soda. So,
hey, William Shatner sold margarine, so there you go.
Shatner sold margarine, Priceline.com.
Priceline.
For years, everything. God bless him. Hey, we need, listen.
Yeah.
You know, to be an actor, even a successful actor, you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from. So there we are.
Yeah, it makes you think like what pole was up Nimoy's ass, but whatever. You know, I can understand being a little upset. Like, come on, Gene, you're throwing this in. We know you're selling it. Where's our cut? That's what I actually think was happening. Doesn't say that in the book though. But regardless, I guess we'll come to our ratings, our very scientific 1 to 10 scale. Mike, what are you gonna give? Is there no truth in beauty on a 1 to 10 scale?
All right, so I dug the premise. I dug the execution. I did not dig her being jealous and weird of Spock. I didn't make that leap. She seemed very reasonable. I think they would have needed. She was acting it wrong if she was going to be unreasonable. But all in all, a cool episode. I like the artistic risks that it took. I love Scotty for some reason, just futzing around in the background, taking things not too seriously. And I love seeing Nimoy change. I'm going to give this captain a 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's the same as "And the Children Shall Lead" for you. Well, I don't like it as much as you. I do like some of the concepts of it. I just find it draggy. Again, the music cues kind of drag me down in this. Nothing really happens. They go somewhere and come out. I think the enhanced version sells that better than the original version of this. I did not like just the way it was resolved rather quickly. I found Miranda Jones to be a pain in the butt. I didn't particularly like her, but you're not supposed to. I felt bad for Larry Marek, whatever. I actually am only going to give this a 5 out of 10.
Really?
So, yeah, I didn't find it that exciting or interesting. It doesn't have enough for me to give it the high concept pass. I do like, I'm not saying you're giving it a pass. The 7's not like stellar. It's passable. I'm saying it's not terrible. I'm saying it's not great. We've seen better, and we definitely have seen worse. But this is passable for season 3. And I would not put it in my top 10 of all Star Trek, but I do like the concept.
Right.
Interestingly, we never hear of the Medusans again. Although you do see Tranya in Deep Space Nine, but you never hear anything about the Medusans. One final note. At the end where Kirk says peace, it's implied that he's in the transporter room when everyone's supposed to be gone. The editor at the time thought it'd be funnier, or actually he just figured, I'll just leave Kirk in the transporter room. But in real life, Shatner had walked off that area. So that's an editing error. But that's the end of this episode. So there you go. Mike gave it a 7. I gave it a 5.
Damn,
and now we're ready for our next episode.
Yeah, give us a little teaser about the next episode, please.
The next episode was actually the first episode filmed for season 3. It's called Spectre of the Gun. It is sort of a Western. It's also something that deals with mind control and some weirdness. It's actually one of my favorite episodes from season 3. It's not everything as it seems. We meet the Melkotians, and the Enterprise is going there, and the Melkotians don't want them there. And we'll find out what happens next time at Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. As always, if you want to contact us, just email us at yellingatgas@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and leave a comment, people, and buy some merch at our t-shirt store. Other than that, Mike, anything else you'd like to add to this?
Nope. Always a good time exploring the universe with Captain here. Thank you for listening, everyone. And hopefully, Captain, when are we going to get some in-person not in person, but, video episodes out like we talk about.
Yeah, well, some of us have to not be sick, and then we'll take it from there.
I never get sick.
But hopefully we'll get to that soon because, time is precious. We do have Comic-Con coming up in New York, so you'll maybe be able to see us there, and Mike won't be wearing a red mask this time.
Actually, I will be wearing a red mask this time.
Oh, you will?
Same
Okay,
thing as
well then.
last time.
All right, so, you'll have to imply it's Mike standing next to me. No, well, it's him. And we'll see you soon, and hopefully we can get that video episode on tricorders and other stuff coming to you soon, and that's all upcoming on the next episodes of Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. And as always, live long and prosper, and we'll see you out there.
Peace and long life, Spock.
Live long and prosper, Miranda.
Bye, Felicia.